Where I live here in Te Anau, Fiordland is full of innumerable rivers, waterfalls, mountain valleys, and the lake here is just so expansive. So many exploring possibilities. I've recently purchased a boat. I've been enjoying getting out recently with my son. We've been doing some fishing, and at the same time I've been doing a little bit of scouting. Now this afternoon I've come out solo. This is something different here. What we have today is not normally what I'd come out with the camera for. It's crystal clear skies. When you have these blue skies, as you guys know, you're not going to get much color in your sunrise or sunset. It really lacks that kind of atmosphere, and to be honest, that type of feeling that I like to evoke in my work. I've come out this afternoon just to get some fresh air. I really didn't intend on filming a video. Didn't necessarily intend on even getting the camera out. They're generally the best times to get out anyway, and that's when things reveal. You just feel that inspiration come to you because you're not trying to force it. What I found here, so I've come up to this beach in the lake, and I've been really inspired by the long shadows which are running along. I love those shadows there. The hazy light. I love looking straight towards the sun, or at least having side light. It's just so dynamic, and what it's doing here is creating some nice hazy atmosphere, which is creating good separation with these trees. The trees and the mountains in the back, with a combination of that, with the bodies of water, the sand. There is so much going on here, which I'm enjoying. So let's get the lens out. Thankfully the water temperature is quite nice considering it's autumn. Let's get the wide angle out, and I think just as the sun gets a touch lower, we might be able to get a shot through here with these long shadows. Now, when you are shooting straight towards the sun, obviously it can be a little bit difficult. So we're going to talk about that. Let's see if we can create something here. I'm quite inspired because this is, home for me is just right out there. So it's so nice to just capture the local mountain range here, the Murchison Mountains. I'm feeling pumped. Let's see if we can do something a bit different. Clear sky, warm light, just a nice, happy, warm image. So we'll get the camera bag, and I'll probably use the wide angle, and let's see what we can do. I'm gonna just be careful with my footprints, because I've done this before in the snow and the sand. You walk all over the place, turn around, and then you have footprints all through the potential compositions. So try and keep away from them. Now let's stand back in the water here. I'm doing that to try and pick up this flickered light. Especially, there's not much left now. There's a fair bit over here. And the main peak in the back there is somewhat the main subject, that big point there. I'm always looking for a big dominant shape to be the main subject. Composition's all about the alignment of shapes. I like to have a big dominant shape to really make it clear what the main subject is. So when you look at the mountains back there, you can see the peaks in the back. That works well. We've got the natural framing of the trees. It's just the battle now is trying not to get too much sun because it's a huge highlight in the frame. So I'm gonna come down and we're just gonna see what we can do. Oh mate, there is just enough light skimming that water there, look at that. And I'm using the tree to block the light. So I'm gonna edge myself just so I'm about to get the light. So when you have the sun blasting the lens, that's when you get lens flares, and it's just nasty. You have too much of a highlight. I use that tree on the left to block the sun like that. And see how that backlight is really making these trees defined and separated from the mountains in the back. That is perfect. If you did this when the light was softer, the trees would blend in quite a lot. Now I'm using, for a change, a faster shutter speed here on the water to pick up some of these beautiful little textures, the scattered light coming in. The challenge is I want to get that light in the water, but obviously I don't want that harsh light hitting the lens. So it's just positioning myself left and right here accordingly, and then using the right focal length to do justice to the background. So I somewhat want to make sure I'm picking up the foreground as well as the background. Go too wide, the mountains are obviously going to be tiny because we're not that close to how I might normally be. All right, this is the shot here. That one light beam in the water. Oh, mate. Now, what would be good is just a few tiny waves. So I might have to try and I don't know if I can create. I'm just doing this to get a bit of movement in the water, and that's just going to give us some texture there so it's not so smooth. How nice. So if you're going to shoot on a clear sky day, just don't get too much sky in the frame. It's just a big negative space, not much going on. So what I'm doing here is using these subject matters, the trees in this case, to really kind of steal the show, and the mountains in the back. So I don't need too much sky in the frame. Cool water contrasts well with the warm sky, the warm highlights. Let's keep moving, guys. Take advantage of the golden light and the beautiful hazy layering of these mountains. Push the old girl out of here. Push it away if the camera gear on board. See ya. Go around the outside of the island here and look up. There's a nice big peak that I like. Oh, look at that. We're gonna turn around and get these layers. Woo! I'm gonna chuck on the 28 to 70. Man, there is some serious layer action. It's gonna be hard to get from the boat. Chuck it in neutral there. Oh, there it is there. Wow, that's just beautiful. Probably going to be 100 mil actually. Wasn't intending on shooting from the boat, but there's some really good layers here. Alright guys, telephoto is too long. Go mid-range. I've put the telephoto on, and we're purposely just moving a little bit further away, and then there's this layered perspective we're going to try compressed with the 100 to 400. Let's see what we can do here. This is hard, trying to operate a boat, film a video and take a photograph is, believe it or not, it's quite difficult. Alright, here we go. The boat doesn't really like sitting this slow, but anyway, here we go. You watch this, I'll have to slow it down even more. That way. That's cool. It's pretty hard to film that, but there's a lot of layered action going on. Look at the light in the back with all the valleys and the peaks. Still need a main focal point though, something to bring the eye to. Be looking this way, not enough light in that direction. If we want something interesting, it's really got to be looking somewhat towards the sun, or at least side on.